Welcome back. Police in the U.S. state of Louisiana have shot and killed another black man, sparking fresh anger amid persisting protests over police brutality and systemic racism.
Get on the ground. They tasing him. He's not even doing nothing. He goes fast. Oh my God! Oh my God! My God! They just shot this man.
Footage from the incident shows the man walking away from officers while holding a knife before he is shot. Police claim the man resisted arrests, but the footage triggered accusations that they used excessive force against the victim. Activists held a protest at the scene of the shooting on Saturday. The American Civil Liberties Union has called the incident a murder and brutal killing. The incident came a day after people in the city of Portland held the 85th night of protest against racism. The protests and unrest swept through the U.S. after another black man, George Floyd, was choked to death by a white police officer back in May. Madame Jody Grage is joining us. She is the vice chair of Green Party of Washington State via Skype. Thank you very much, out of the city of Seattle, I might add. Madame Grage, I'd really like to get your reaction on this. To me, it is that the police are, the actions basically are not trying to mitigate the situation after George Floyd. What do you think?
Well, I think the learning curve is a little slow here. People are not willing to tolerate the police overreacting in this way. There are some, you can't really call them mitigating circumstances, but the police in general are trained to use force. The amount of training they get in things like de-escalation, treating people with mental health issues is very, very, just a fraction of what they get in how to use weapons. So by the time you get the militarization of the police, and you get this culture of repression and solving everything with violence. I mean, the old saying, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It's been unacceptable for a long time, and people in general now, not just people of color, are recognizing that and determined to do something about it. And I think it's going to be a struggle. There needs to be ways figured out to do things differently. But we're on that path, and I don't think people are going to settle down and go back to what passed for normal before. So this is another incident. Mm-hmm. It's mind-boggling.
Madame Grage, I was just thinking that, it's not as if that the police cannot use force. In any country, police are entitled to certain deeds in order to bring about peace and order. But the thing is that you see the repeat of this less than 3 months that Mr. George Floyd was killed. That alludes also to a deeper trouble. Do you really think that, without taking anyone's side, really, who is to blame for the situation? It's going to be unfair to say, I guess, that all police officers are to blame for this. Maybe their training, maybe the situation, maybe the fear of security. Who do you blame for incidents like this?
I think part of the problem is we have tasked the police forces with too many jobs, and a lot of them they are not qualified to handle. 9/11 calls, a great many of them can be handled by social service workers, outreach people, without the first response being someone with a gun. So what we're trying to do here in Seattle, and it's a rocky road, admittedly, but they have done it in other places, and other places are working on it, is to take things like the 9/11 calls and take those out of the police department, to take other outreach functions and give them, or task other agencies and community organizations with working on those, because I think what we're asking the police to do is too many jobs, and a good many of them they are not trained for. I think that there are a lot of people who go into police work wanting to do the right thing, but it's not a culture that is willing to accept that in a lot of ways. And then there's the militarization of the police, where they are given a lot of military equipment, and the outcome is pretty predictable. But we have to change it. It's so great that everyone now, all races, colors, creeds, ages, sexes, are getting on this, and we will do it.
Hopefully. That's Madame Jody Grage, Vice Chair of Green Party of Washington State out of Seattle. I really appreciate your time, ma'am.